Gerald Lucas here with another installment of Ask Gerald, where you get your real estate questions answered. Today's question comes from Gary, and Gary writes from Carlstadt, New Jersey. And Gary writes, do rent control ordinances lower rent prices? Well, that's a good question, Gary. The answer is yes and no. So rent control certainly lowers the rent prices for the units that it covers, but it also creates market imbalances and negative consequences that raise rent prices for units that aren't covered under the rent control ordinances. So the purpose of rent control, of course, is to make housing more affordable for less affluent people. But some of the unintended consequences of rent control include the fact that it often discourages the building of new rental units, which reduces housing supply and raises rent prices for people who aren't covered under rent control. So reduces supply in that way. It also encourages, rent control also encourages property owners to convert rental units to owner-occupied units, which again reduces the supply of available rental units, which increases rent prices. It also, I think, gives, like slumlords, makes them feel justified in not maintaining their property, which lowers, the quality of rental units. Lastly, what often happens with rent control, and you see this in Manhattan a lot, is wealthier, more affluent people will bribe and buy out less affluent people to take over their rent controlled units, and then you end up with kind of wealthy, affluent people living in and controlling rent controlled units, which defeats the purpose of rent control in the first place. So thanks for your question, Gary. For more real estate tips and information, visit my blog at geraldlucas.com. I'm Gerald Lucas, and I'll see you again soon.